Tri-City Sports Now. You got me, Marky Bilson, here on 1420 WEMB Sports Radio and JetBroadcasting.live. You can also follow me on Twitter, see my Twitter wars with people at Marky Bilson. That's my Twitter handle. But what we really want you to do is like us on Facebook. When I do Media Watch in the next segment, I'll tell you why here in a little bit. It has been, I was going to tell you about the new rules with the XFL, but it has been really a difficult time for pro football players, or at least recent pro football players. Now, maybe not so for those players that I mentioned, those former prospects, if you will. Both Knicks, Robert Meacham from Tennessee, Landry Jones, Ryan Mallett, Fred Davis. Davis was a legitimate tight end with the Redskins. I don't know his stats off the hand, but I mean, no, that was a guy that was, he was, certainly a good tight end for them. So he hasn't played since 2013. So that's kind of interesting. They're trying to make a comeback after being away from the game for so long. But otherwise, before I get to the rules changes the XFL will have, I do want to mention these things. Of course, yesterday, and we had told you about this before, that Jared Lorenzen had been hospitalized, and he was gaining weight. I was surprised at Jared Lorenzen, right? The hefty lefty, and it eventually, his obesity caused, it appears, well, let's see here. Perhaps I should not be this hasty, and let me give you the official cause of death. It was health issues, was one of the reports. He passed away last night, or last afternoon, which you probably have heard of by now. Did not specify a cause or where he died. Did the release from Lorenzen's family. What can you say here? To show you how young, he's 38 years old. He was playing pro football in the indoor leagues, Lorenzen, as recently as 2014. And think about this. Eli Manning is still the starting quarterback of the New York Giants. Probably won't be for much longer, but he is still the starting quarterback of the New York Giants. Jared Lorenzen used to be his backup. So, this is an athlete dying young. From Covington, Kentucky. Lots of passing records at Kentucky. And I know that, in the old days it didn't throw that much, but you are talking about the school of Blanda, the school of Perilli, the school of Couch. And he's got more passing yards, more attempts, and more attempts in a season than any other quarterback in the history of Kentucky. Of course, there's the famous 61-63 game that fell short in. I always liked Lorenzen. I liked his interviews. I mean, he was very laid back and easygoing. And, they had a ton of nicknames because when you're that, there was so much, because of his weight, he was the target of some ridicule. There was one blogger I remember, he was in a quarterback competition at Kentucky, and the blogger had written he won a quarterback competition by eating his opposing teammate for the starting quarterback job. It actually was quite funny. I didn't probably tell the joke as well as I could. However, it was a fine blog post, and it deserved this big picture and all this, And Lorenzen now up to about 600 pounds, and this linebacker has no idea what he's getting into as he tries to bring down Jared Lorenzen. But like I say, he was very down to earth in interviews. And I remember once he was talking about nicknames. I mentioned this, I think it was 2 days ago. He said, "What nickname is your favorite?" And he said, "Well, J-Lo." Which again, I mean, Jennifer Lopez is still, in the prime of pop culture, that sort of thing. Although there's a new story with her, so I got to get to here, I guess. But Jared Lorenzen said, "Yeah, I really like that." You couldn't get two different body types than the 6'4", 285-pound, to be charitable, Lorenzen, and the absolutely perfect body of J-Lo. I mean, you could not get not only male and female, but here we have the ultimate in shape, and unfortunately, it appears there were infections that it was reported that he had in his hospital stay, and health causes that Lorenzen. It appears that his. I'm not saying this officially, but it appears. You tell me, man. That large, that young passes away. It's hard to believe the weight did not have something to do with it. This was not death by accident, if you will. So there you are. By the way, I mean, who is Jennifer Lopez? J-Lo, that Jared Lorenzen, that was his favorite nickname. Dating, you know this. A-Rod. See, that's the way it goes. You have to have a nickname like that to date each other. Okay, but you want to talk about the beautiful people, absolutely. Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez. But now, have you heard that this has been on all the gossip pages? They may be on the skids. Gotta say this. It's the A-Rod, right? You know? As much as their friends love seeing Alex and J-Lo together as royalty, there is a great feel that the tension between them may prevent them from ever making it down the aisle. And they've been known to argue. Okay, they've been, of course, what couple isn't? But here's the deal. Recently, the 2019 Met Gala, they may have had their breaking point last week when Rodriguez made headlines for making a few controversial remarks that I don't think were all that controversial about the couple's interaction with the reality star that's, you know her, Kylie Jenner. So Jenner comes over to her Taylor, and Rodriguez was talking to Sports Illustrated when he said, hey, we had this great table. We were sitting with all these celebrities, and the way he puts it is a little coarse, does A-Rod. The black guy from The Wire, Idris Elba, yeah, and his new wife was there. Some famous singer next to me, I don't know what her name is. He was joking about Jennifer Lopez. No, Jennifer Lopez was not that vain. She did not, you know. Donatella Versace, and we had Kylie and Kendall at our table. And we had an Asian gentleman from Rich Asians, the lead. Kylie was talking about Instagram and her lipstick and how rich she is. Evidently, that's a no-no. Don't say that Kylie Jenner was saying how rich she was. Really? That's the cause of a breakup? That's what's being said. I like to think of myself as a celebrity here. Marky Bilson, host of Tri-City Sports Now. I guess I'm Z-level compared to that. And I've got the biggest ego in the world. I mean, I'm telling people that I'm the Lord O'Markey for crying out loud and all that, you know. So you've got that. Anyway, talk about the XFL. Talk about what those rule changes were that... I was like a little bit, some I liked, some I didn't. And like I said, I don't think the XFL is going to make it. Same reason the AF didn't make it. The only way that they'll make it is if eventually, because arena football started with the league owning all the teams, and then they realized, wait, we need individual ownership of the teams. And then what they found out is they were willing to sell to anybody, and those people might not be all that wealthy, or that committed, or they might be trying to use the Arena Football League as a stepping stone for other sports to get into, or, well, they weren't all that committed to the cities that they live in, or that they put the teams in. And that's the problem. And that's another thing where I said what I thought was a problem with the alliance is that since the league owned all the teams, you didn't have real big attendance numbers. And I thought that one of the reasons why is how do you market? You're marketing the league. You're not marketing individual teams to individual cities. So here we go. That's going to be a problem because the same thing's going to happen in the XFL. And also, when you're playing in Los Angeles, New York, Washington, Houston, Dallas, you might be on page 2. That's going to be... Now, if you are owning the team and you're really trying to make it, and this is your pro football team, and that's what the USFL was. Certainly Donald Trump had his own ideas on how they would make it, but no, the thing was that, yeah, you would have a circumstance. You were trying to get players that were the best in football. New Jersey General's backfield was supposed to be, in 1986, Jim Kelly and Herschel Walker. That's pretty good. Anyway, the XFL, like I said, it's going to be tough if you're using those second stringers too. I think that, the idea of seeing a lesser football league, well, we just watch football because we want to watch it. Here we go. The XFL will have a 25-second clock between plays, which is 15 seconds left than the NFL. Multiple forward passes will be allowed as long as the players remain behind the line of scrimmage. Now, that's going to be interesting. You go way, way back, throw a ball to a screen pass to a running back, and then he throws deeper. How's that going to work? They've also got an overtime, and I don't know. I don't like football overtime. I've written about this. I think football overtime should be done away with. But what they're going to do is teams will line up at the opposite ends of the field, get 5 opportunities from the 5-yard line. The team with the most points at the end wins. I've always thought that in that case, you've got the advantage going second. Even if, the other team scores 40 points, I guess that would be the maximum, under this. How are you going to... Well, then you know what you have to do on the next series. And for that matter, if it's a real dud, then... If it's a real dud, then all you got to do is kick a field goal. How do we know, by the way, that if you're not doing conversions, you got to say, if we can prevent a team from getting in the end zone on 4th and 5 in 3 out of 5 downs, we just kick field goals here on our first series, we're going to have 15 points. That could hold up. I guess there's some strategy involved, and that's decent. I hate that there's no element of field position. I don't like that. I do like the NFL's modern rules for overtime. I think they're the best. This one is better than what college and high school does. Of course, I just think, hey, it's not that... I just think go for 2 for crying out loud at the end of the ball game. And for that matter, there's always is a winner and a loser to a tie. Come on. In 93, Tennessee fans... Tennessee lost to Alabama that year. You know it. Come on.
Poodle wanted fun for just a single...